So the Kringle has just flared up, and all the terrified former greedy people have kind of vacated to the other side of the room. Your two friends here are behind you and give you a good stance and a nod as if to let you obviously know they're with you.
Mm-hmm.
You have rolled first in initiative, so Elric, it is your turn. You can do as you please.
I am going to begin by, um, I had this all thought out, and it all just left me.
Oh no.
Status of the leg. The leg is coal.
Your left leg is encased in coal from like the knee down. Like you're wearing
From the knee down?
well, partial of your knee. You can't fully bend your leg, but it's not like all the way up to your thigh.
Okay.
But it's like a gigantic coal boot, essentially. You're hindered, certainly. Let me say it like that.
Okay. Well, a hindrance is only a hindrance. It's not like my entire leg is paralyzed.
Certainly, but, walking and running and would cause, difficulties.
Right.
You've got a handicap.
Okay. So what I would like to do is I want to immediately send off a magic missile at this guy. Or
Okay.
my variant.
Your shimmering bolt, I believe.
Yes, that is exactly what it was.
Alright. Okay. 3d8. Or magic damage.
That's a 7, and a 6, and a 1, so 14 damage.
Right. And to prove my professionalism, I have not a calculator set and ready. Oh, it's a wonderful start. Okay. You will strike him head on with these little shimmering bolts that rocket forth from your hands. He is hovering about, say 10 feet off the ground. He recoils, obviously, but seems to regain his composure. Lottie is actually next. Oh, I'm sorry, Elric. Did you want to move or anything?
No.
Okay.
I'm going to stay in my movement.
Lottie will actually pull this interesting-looking rifle off of her shoulder, take a knee, and aim a shot. And with a 20, the first right off the bat, hot diggity. True to her character, she is a damn good shot.
Indeed.
I am actually going to take that. I'm straight up going to take that as just. I'm going to take that twice light damage. 6, 12, dang, 18. Good rolls here. $27. As some form of bright projectile comes rocketing out of the end of this rifle she's holding. You're quite impressed yourself at just this loud, explosive noise and this essentially what appears to you like the effect of a shimmering bolt just pierces through this floating wizard. As these people have not really had much experience or hardly heard of firearms, and you yourself have only heard tales of them. Goes right through the cloak and all, and seems to just disappear through the fog wall in the background. She is actually going to stay her turn and try to reload instead of moving. However, it is the Kringle's turn. And the Kringle is actually... Give me 1 second. Alright. He actually failed a save. And from that quite impressive shot, he's actually going to fall to his feet. He's actually on the ground. He will roll up a 16. Does that hit anybody?
That just hits me.
Alright. You will be struck with a blast of frost. You are effectively chilled. You will take 5 damage right now, and
Mm-hmm.
you are slowed as a big wave of ice just kind of washes over everybody. Pelly failed as well, but Lottie did not. You will also take 5.
Okay, and that was essentially that was the blast wave, right?
Yes, the Kringle waves his hand, and like a wave ray of frost just in front of him.
Okay, I had to clarify.
The the stone floor has got like a small little layer of frost, but it's not like a layer of ice. The golems will go next. The one to your left will be seemingly aiming for you. It will take one step and just try its best to hit, but with a 3, a gigantic icy fist just comes short. The one to your right will go actually for Lottie. With a 6, will only move 1 square and do about the same. They do not seem to be very quick or agile.
Okay.
Pelly's next, and he barely makes his save. He's no longer cold, and he's going to aim for the ice giant to the right. With an 18, makes wonderful work as he literally picks up this large crutch was leaning on and whirls it literally like the effect of a boomerang, and it just clonks this giant right between where eyes would be for heavy damage. See what Pelly can dish out. 15, not bad.
Pretty good, pretty good.
Right, Elric, it is your go.
I'll need to roll to save.
You will need to roll just a standard save. If you make above 10, you are no longer cold.
Well, I'm cold. I have it too.
Alright, you are still cold, and you will take 5 frost damage.
Indeed. Okay. I am going to continue my barrage and assault the Kringle again.
Alright, he's on the ground.
I'm using magic, my shimmering bolt. There, words.
3d8.
I've got a 1, and a 7. So 7, 8, 9, average.
Alright, once more you plaster this red-robed individual, just staggering him with magic. Is that it? You don't want to move anywhere or anything?
I'm going to move back 1 square.
Okay, you can move back 1 square. Lottie's gonna have reloaded and will take her view against this ice giant since it's closer and more of an immediate threat now. But with a 4, in her haste, she misfires and it goes right over his shoulder.
Oh.
We'll spend her turn, take about 3 steps back, well, more like 6 steps back for her movement, and begin to reload as quickly as she can.
Okay.
Kringle rolls a 6 and tries to do the ice wave again, but the magic almost half fizzles out or just comes short of you. Like a disadvantage, like he's really reeling from just being shot a bunch.
Yay!
Right, ice giant to your left rolls a 6, will move closer but still misses. Just shy of smashing the ground, like right here in front of you. And same one to the right. Still seems to be focused on Lottie. Will only take its one step and just smash in front of it. Um, it's pretty apparent these things aren't entirely intelligent.
Right.
Pelly will hold up a single hand. Yes, that works. As his little crutch, which had landed just about near the ice giant's feet, comes rocketing back to him like a magic spell. He will do it again with an 18 and clonk this thing upside the head once more. Another d12. Only 12 damage, but every little bit helps as he smacks this thing kind of upside the shoulder. It hasn't recoiled in agonizing pain, but it's a good solid contact. You can feel this thing. You felt the collision. It was a good solid hit. Elric, we're back to you.
I am going to roll for cold. Flat, good 10.
Okay, I'll take it. You are no longer cold.
I'm going to consume some healing sprout.
You will take a tea sprout. The tea sprouts by themselves, they're pretty much half health each. So like an upward max of like 50 HP.
Well, I have 59 HP currently.
Out of what, 100?
Yes.
Oh yeah, it would put you up to top.
All right. And I'm going to Shimmering Bolt again.
At Kringle?
Yes.
All right, go for it.
With a 5, a 3, and a 2, so 10 total.
All right. He's getting low on health. You will actually be pushing him back towards the fog wall. He's just getting a barrage of projectiles. Lottie's going to take a third shot at this giant. And with a 12, it just glances off the side of where, I guess you would say a torso or rib cage would be. Contacts, but it did not make any real damage.
Okay.
She will keep her position and go back to reloading. Kringle will hold his hands above his head as a blue aura shoots into the ceiling. Clouds will begin to disperse all across the ceiling, engulfing any view above your heads. As an 18 surely hits.
Yes, an 18 does hit.
Hail. Large hail about the size of baseballs. Fist-size hail begins to start pummeling everybody in the closest vicinity. That will be... $28 damage.
I'm glad I healed.
As hail begins to start collecting around everyone's feet. Like literally a buffet of hail.
That should be beneficial to us because the ice giants, if they take a step, they can hopefully maybe, slip and fall.
Possibly so. They don't seem to be the most intelligent. Right. The one closest to Lottie will just barely make his save, but manage to take a step and still just kind of smash in front of it, blindly. One to your left will just barely make it save as well, as it kind of just smash the hail bits into the floor, trying to carefully step over them. But with a 17, will bring down a mighty ice fist on top of you.
I want to roll to dodge.
Alright, roll a dex save against me. I rolled a 10.
I've got 11.
Alright, you will take half damage.
Excellent.
This was a heavy hit, as these guys are heavy hitters. So, 6, 7... Oop, off the table, doesn't count. 8, 9, 10, so you only take 5 damage.
Yay. See, I can learn.
You can be taught.
I love that movie.
Alright. Pelly will do his best. He fails summoning back his crutch, but it's right next to him, within a square, so he can actually grab it as a free action. And with a 16, just barely makes it again. And let's see if he has the power to take this thing down. With a 9, 8, with a 6. Exact numbers precisely, as he swings it over top of his head, both armed, as the bottom end of the crutch just embeds itself right about the neck, between the shoulder and the neck, as this giant just splits in two and crumbles to the floor in icy chunks.
Yay.
The ice giant is no more. It is nothing more than a grumbling pile of icy chunks. Elric, there's an ice giant in your grill.
Yes, there is, and this time I do believe I'm going to attempt to slash up this ice giant.
Alright.
So I need to roll to attack first.
Yes.
With a 13.
No, that does not hit.
Darn.
You will kind of just slash about close as you can to its gigantic fist. It's still probably reeling up back to itself, and just unless you're using like your new claws or something special, you're just glancing off of it, just chipping away, not doing any damage.
I've not equipped anything yet, which I should. Do I still have a minor action? Because if I do, I will equip the new claws.
Yes, and you can move as well if you so choose.
As a minor action, I re-equip the new claws, or equip for the first time the new claws, and just take one step back.
Okay. Easy done. Kringle,
I had almost forgotten
Kringle
I had them.
Going to advance and just straight up try and blast you with a ray of frost. But a 9 surely does not hit you.
Correct. It does not.
You and Pelly do this interesting little tango dodge as this arcing ray of frost just kind of winds right between you two as you both kind of lean the opposite direction. It kind of goes haywire over the hall itself, kind of fading off to the other end of the room. The golem will still go for you, but with a meager 4, will actually fail his save. And he does not fall prone, but he tries to take a step and kind of regains his balance, trying to stay upright. And that will essentially be his turn. A dazzling display of keeping your balance. Ellie will freehand pick up his crutch, and with a 15, will huck it over, and if this makes it, he makes it. It collides with the giant, but it lands short. It does not do damage. A failed throw, if you would.
Right.
But it does not, go soaring over it, but lands about its feet. Back to the top, Elric.
Okay. I'm going to turn my attention back to the Kringle, and I want to fire more shimmering bolts at it, as that seems to be working quite effectively.
Okay. If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Exactly. And the DM's not stopping me so far. So that's an 8. And an 8.
Good.
And jackpot, another 8. Okay. So 8 and 8 is 16, and 8 is 24 points of damage.
All right. The Kringle is down on his knees. He is certainly bloodied. You have just about shredded most of his robings. He does not look as pristine as he did sitting upon his golden throne of treasure. Lottie will bring up the rear, but with a 4, miss a shot. She will instantly begin to reload, trying to keep up with everything. Kringle is going to take a different approach, and with an 18, let's see if I can do this, if I remember how to do this. Free hand. Summon an icy wall right here. It rises up out of the ground with a frost spray about 10 feet tall.
Okay.
The golem is going to aim for you still. He will fail his step and fail his save. As this golem tries to advance, will slip on the hail and literally land face first. He is prone in front of you. Ellie will try and summon his weapon, his crutch. He will save, gain his weapon, but with a 5, timed it badly, and tries to huck his weapon back at the giant as it kind of falls face first, and he overthrows it. Elric, we're back to you.
I am going to slash at the frost giant, since there's a wall of ice currently.
Okay. Obviously advantage.
Yep. I roll with an 11.
You have advantage.
Okay, you need to go away. You're obviously tired. That was an 8. Let's try the other d20 I've got later.
Alright. Much like Pelly, you kind of over-anticipated and essentially started slashing before this giant advanced and kind of just missed it. You're making shaved ice right now. You're not really doing anything.
We're causing him structural damage.
Yes, but it's not really amounting to anything.
Correct.
Lottie is straight up going to stay her reloading, make her movement, and just straight up wield her rifle like a club. And with a 16, do some pretty decent bludgeoning damage. That is a 6, 7. At least 10 damage as she brings this thing down on its back as hard as she can. Good, good little chunk. She's just really trying to get in on it now. Going ham.
Yay!
As best she can. Alright. The Kringle wields a 19, but with disadvantage on a 12 as he attempts to just rain hail down again, but he cannot see you. So a 12 does not hit anybody, does it?
No.
Alright. So another blast of magic goes up into the ceiling, creating clouds once more as hail begins to fall, but kind of sparse and more over this direction. Fills the floor a little bit, but no one really gets hit. The golem's going to try and stand. He will get back on his feet. But he again fails his save. But he only manages to keep in place. He tries to stand up, slips, but just keeps his balance and does nothing more. He's not having a good time. Ellie will have to summon his weapon with a 10. Okay, and if he makes this save, he does not. He summons back his crutch. It goes just around, hitting the golem as it tries to stand. And he will try and aim at it, but with a 14, again, miss. And with an 8, actually overthrows it again. It lands back essentially where he summoned it from.
Lovely.
A net 0 for that round. Back to Elric.
Alright. I'm going to try one more time to take out the... well, at least attack the ice giant.
Mm-hmm.
Come on, claws. Show me what you got. That's a 16.
That will make contact.
You are staying out for now. Yes, you are the die I'm going to be using. Okay. What do these particular claws do damage-wise?
They are summoned up by whatever Elric wanted and envisioned in his dream claws. So tell me, Elric, what do your dream claws do?
If I had to have the best claws in the entire world, they would be slightly ranged with some sort of concussive wave, be very sharp, as well as at will have varying effects such as paralysis or poison or burn.
All right.
Those would be my dream claws.
Fair. Okay. And what kind of damage would they do? Standard heavy, light, something custom?
I would say they would do magic damage for the ranged.
Fair.
But standard damage act and a +2 on chance to hit.
Alright. Okay. You've made contact already, even with a +2 advantage.
Right.
Roll me light damage for the ice giant.
Which is
3d6.
Right. 3, 3, and 5. So 6, 11 total.
Alright, this ice giant certainly reels. Roll me a 1d4.
1.
Alright, this ice giant, excuse the phrase, freezes in his tracks as he is essentially paralyzed now. As an added
Awesome.
effect.
Amazing.
As soon as you hit contact with this giant, you feel the gloves resonate with magic as a shockwave effect rockets through the air and continues onwards behind the giant itself, actually almost impacting the wall and certainly shattering and dispersing all the hail on the ground behind him. These are some mighty interesting claws. Will that be your turn?
Yes.
Alright. Lottie is going to go ham on the giant since it is now paralyzed. And with advantage. With advantage, we'll make it. Good, good, good. And that will be 8 more damage. As she just tries to start hacking into this thing like she's using an axe. Kringle's going to try his attempt at the hail again with a 16. Managed to dot everybody. But since he has disadvantage, he's only getting light damage, and everyone takes only 6 as a few stray bits of hail kind of fall about and just catch everyone off guard.
Alright.
Alright. Ice Giant's going to try and save against paralysis and fail. Billy will try and summon his weapon, which he actually fails to do. And he will merely take a couple hobbles back as best he can, since he is weaponless. Elric,
Yes.
your go.
I'm going to try and use that shockwave effect to break down the Kringle's wall.
You're not entirely sure how the claws work, but you're pretty sure if you make contact, the shockwave will follow. I'll
Okay.
give you... you're a little bit away. You would have to move closer.
I shall.
Alright. And I'll obviously give you advantage, as it is a stationary object.
Yay! So, roll! With a 12 plus the 2, 14.
You only
Or-
needed 10. That works.
Okay.
Unless you can get a 20.
No.
Okay.
I tried.
Fair. Alright. Roll me light damage. 3d6.
3, 6, and 5, so 14.
Alright. You slash right through this wall like it were paper thin. The claws feel good. It was like cutting through, soggy paper. It felt very
Yay.
satisfying. A shockwave of magic.
As if they were my own hands.
Yes! Roll me 1d4.
1.
Paralysis. As this shockwave continues, strikes the Kringle with a bout of paralysis.
We need to nerf these claws.
And give me 1d8 for damage.
Yes. 7.
And he is struck with 7 damage.
I will definitely need to nerf these claws.
The Kringle has been decked. He is on his back, like coughing up blood. The Kringle is down. He is not dead, but he is certainly down. And there's a nice little hole in this ice wall.
Woo!
Just gonna leave it like that. Lottie is gonna try and finish up this giant with a 15 and just kind of hack at it a little bit more. Nothing more, nothing less. The Kringle is merely just going to try and stabilize himself and make a save to do so, which he does take. The Ice Golem will try and save out of paralysis and fail. He is still paralyzed. And do nothing more. Heli will summon back his weapon, and with the 16, it will collide with the giant on its return. Like a deadly boomerang. As it will take 8. Oh my goodness. Numbers. 26 damage. Peli catches his crutch as it literally rips through this ice giant, and it crumbles to pieces like before.
Wow, Peli is the one dealing the most damage.
Elric, it is back to you. There's this tattered robed Kringle looking thing trying not to literally trying not to spew blood everywhere.
I'm going to rush recklessly.
Alright. And do what? He's
Slash him to ribbons.
alright, going all out.
Now's my chance for an all-out attack.
Okay, you'll need to roll. I'll give you advantage. +2 for your gloves.
Alright. That's a 4, 5, 6, nope. And a 19, so 21.
Alright. Roll me 1d4.
One.
Paralysis again. Okay. You will make contact as you have... Basically, you're trying to rage. You rush this downed wizard with these newfangled claws. You will successfully cut him down to 0 HP. He is effectively downed. But more importantly, if I can do this, he will try one last save. He rolled a 20, however, he has 2 disadvantages against him. I rolled a 14, and I rolled a 1. Kringle tries his best to stand, to do effectively an uncanny dodge. Elric, you have used your newfangled claws, and you have literally severed his left arm as he just crumples to the floor.
I pick up the arm. Here you go. One left arm, as per our deal.
He will manage to just briefly lift his head out of his own pool of blood and just give you a look like, good job, before he just face plants back down into his own pool of blood. Instantly, a wave of aura just discharges from the figure. Blows over everybody. You instantly feel a bright, warm wind rush over everything. All the ice immediately starts melting like a heat wave has gone through.
Yay!
All the ice from the giants begin to very, very quickly start melting. All the people behind us in the hall begin to start reeling about. Everyone's running over to the doors and the windows. And the gigantic hole in the side of the building, as it is no longer snowing and sun begins to start peering through the clouds. Everyone begins to instantly start rushing outside. Cheers of joy and just general happiness are actively erupt from these people formerly about to kill themselves from greed. In the commotion, you manage to look back and see this frail little old man who looks like a very, very cheap knockoff brand of the Kringle. A frail wizard-like man in kind of tattered orange robes and this big white octopus-esque beard. He is missing a left arm, but other than that, he looks pretty okay. 'Tis a flesh wound. This old man will manage to get to his knees very, very slowly. He has a hard time. He manages to look up and gain eyes with you. He looks very sorrowful. He looks very forlorn. He doesn't look at you. He looks through you with a look, basically, could you forgive me? He literally looks like he's about to break down and cry. Elric, roll me perception real quick.
10.
Alright. You see this man in front of you. You, from his face and general first appearance, you believe this is some... You've heard of some other wizard in Boarswood that's like a merchant or something on the other side of town. You've never seen or met them personally, but you might gauge this, the description fits. That he's not just some, random stranger or whatnot. He's like essentially a local.
Mm-hmm.
But you also notice between the two of you, about your feet, there is about a baseball-sized, I would say, rock, or like some gemstone, an orange, unformless shape. Now, it doesn't seem to be, perfectly cut or anything. It looks like an orange, glowy, not glowy, not opaque, translucent rock. There we go. Goodness gracious.
Note to DM, have thesaurus available.
Yes. This forlorn figure will reach down and very, very meekly grab the rock and just, with his hand, hold it up to you with his head still held down. I didn't want to. He manages to finally speak.
I collect the stone from him.
You feel a small little tingle of static as you hold this rock. It feels like there's magic involved in this. It just promised me so much. I couldn't help it.
Everyone succumbs to greed every once in a while. It's fine.
You need to tell Dawn I'm sorry. I didn't mean for this to happen.
What do you mean?
Well, he gave it to me. I didn't know this is what would happen.
Looks like the next time I see Don Grave, I need to have a very lengthy discussion with him.
I I don't know what I can do for you, but I he was here, I think, ago, asking something about, I think, um, resurrection or something. There was a lot of trades. I think he's over in the chapel, if he's still alive, he says as he tears up.
Just go rest. I'm gonna go have a word with him.
Lottie and Pelly will kind of side up to you. So, what do you want to do with him? Lottie just kind of half whispers in your ear.
Just let him rest. I have to go talk to Don this stone.
Pelly kind of gives you a tap on the shoulder like he can address him as they kind of half, kneel beside him to console him and do whatever they feel like they need to do. Now, I do not have a map, suffice to say, but you are aware of the positioning of this chapel that the figure spoke of, which is essentially just a block or two north of the hall here. I'm going to swap you back over to the Boarswood map, just for map's sake.
Alright.
You manage to step outside, and the ice and snow are melting quite quickly. The mounds, the interesting snowmen that we're all about are nothing more than puddles now. You start to see quite a few people emerging from within, their sheds and houses. And that at least some people, barricaded themselves inside. This large building here, if you want to kind of zoom out of the map, the large square building right here, literally above the hall, the mead hall, would be the chapel that the figure spoke of. You haven't personally been there as well, but from what the Beat Knight and a few others have said, it's used to be like a church chapel, but it kind of doubles as essentially the medical bay and like half morgue.
Alright. Then I should head up that way.
Alright. You easily make your way there with no trouble. The streets are slightly wet now. The sun is shining quite nicely. And there's a light, a bright glowing orange light coming in from within the front window of this chapel. It looks like the flickering of fire from inside.
I enter the chapel.
As soon as you come in the door, you feel a good wave of heat as there is a bright, hearty fire going on right here in essentially this front room. There is a man seated in a couple of chairs to your left who instantly jumps up and grabs a candelabra from his left and kind of holds it outwards like a spear towards you. And to your right, there is what looks like a man in robing, almost like a cleric sort, who gets up from behind a desk and quickly pulls out a hand crossbow and just shouts at you, "If you're here to loot, you need to leave," he says with hesitation.
It's all over, you can stop now.
The man with the candelabra kind of looks over your shoulder. "It's gone! The snow's gone!" And the man behind the desk will kind of peer over in, disbelief through the window. "What? How?" Kind of at a loss for words. You will both seem to kind of put down their weapons. There was like 3 feet of snow outside just now. How did? What? They seem generally flabbergasted.
I'll look. Everything. Hey, I took care of everything as I normally do.
Oh, oh, okay. The man in the robes kind of sits back and is kind of slumps down in his chair like he still doesn't know what to make of this. The man will put the candelabra back and kind of almost push past you, kind of really look outside to get a good look for himself.
I'm looking for Don Grave.
Uh, 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 yeah, he's in the back. The guy behind the desk will kind of wave over to the side door here that would lead farther back into the chapel. He still has this look of like, I can't believe it over his face.
I walk to the back.
There's you enter through this side door and it kind of opens up to essentially what will be a back room, and there's a few tables, and this is set up to be like a makeshift morgue. There's trays and the embalming cabinets and whatnot. There is another human figure you're not familiar with, who looks a man who looks like he might work here, and you do see Don Grave and Mr. Cal Amory, who still looks quite horrified and pale, like he's about to be murdered. Don actually looks like he's been crying.
Mr. Grave.
He will perk up, having heard his name, and spin around and see you and attempt to dry his face. You, what, how, yeah. Elric, yes, I was going to, I needed to find you, yes. Um, what, I didn't, what brings you, what can I do for you? He says.
I believe this is yours. I pull out the stone.
He goes from looking like he's been mourning to looking like he's just been caught guilty of murder. He goes white as a sheet. I, he starts, stuttering. Yes? What about it?
This little bauble was the cause for all of this turmoil.
That's unfortunate. Um, I, I don't know anything about it.
Yeah, BS.
Um,
Who did you
I,
get this from?
I have no clue. He's obviously really bad at lying.
I just ripped a man's arms off with these claws. I brandished the claws. Don't make me try them again so soon.
I got it from the girl, the demon child. She had it. I traded her for. I challenged her to a little game, and she handed it over. I was going to trade it to to the local merchant. It's just a harmless rock.
You should know not to take things from little demons. Where is Isasu?
It's just a rock. She said she
Where-
found it.
Where is she?
She's with Arud and his family, like we've planned. She set up with him and his family in his house.
Then I've got someplace I need to be.
Wait, no, seriously, I do need you for like 5 minutes. This is a serious matter involving the community here. If I can just borrow you for like a few moments. He nods over to the man by the shelvings as he one by one steps over and just starts pulling out these 5 drawers, which all have large cloth bag encasings, what look like large enough to fit people. Don just calmly says, There's been an accident, and it would greatly help if you could see if you knew anyone.
I take a deep sigh. Alright.
The coroner man will begin to start kind of unraveling these encasements. Now, I'm going to ask you, Elric, how would you like to look at these? Are you just going to try and take them in? Are you going to really try and focus in on key features? What would Elric do?
Elric would deeply analyze these people.
Okay.
Like, roll perception on each individual, basically.
Alright. Roll perception for the first individual.
15 plus 5 is 20.
Alright. You see a young male, human. He is quite pale. He has been dead for quite some time. He's in cloth kind of robes of blue and gold highlights. No insignias, no jewelries to signify anything. You do not recognize this figure, and you certainly have not seen it before. The coroner and Don will give a look to you, awaiting any response or any notion from you.
No idea.
The coroner will step to the next one. Please roll me your next roll.
18 and 5.
Alright.
Obviously, this die. So, 23.
There's a middle-aged female. She's of dark-skinned complexion. She seems to be of druid descent. She's got her... There literally has twigs and leaves like woven throughout her hair. It looks like her entire right arm is coated in like bark armor. She looks like the epitome of a female druid. You're trying not to conjecture, but you may have heard something from the Beat Knight about a female druid of vaguish description, but you have not seen, nor do you know this individual.
She looks familiar, but I'm not entirely certain.
Alright. Next.
12 and 5, so 5, 6, 17.
Alright. This individual is almost mangled to pieces. They're stark white. Literally, they do not have any arms. It is just like you've done to the Kringle. There is nothing from like the shoulders. And there's been a large part of the torso literally scooped out, like about a cannonball-sized hole where the torso should be. And not a clean cut, it's like something has literally, ripped out their torso. They seem to be wearing fine, like a leather tunic, but it is stark obvious with the dark long hair and the Fu Manchu. This is Thaddeus Flintwick.
I know this one.
Don,
This person is a gentleman named Thaddeus.
as soon as you say the word, Don kind of covers his mouth and you see kind of some tears well up. I knew it! I knew it! He says. Please. Thank you. Please continue, he says, trying to keep himself together.
Before I continue, what happened to him?
All we know is that these 5 were all brought in at the same time on a cart. Stranger, who no one knows, says he found him dumped on the side of the road while he was passing by from out west. I wanted to make sure, and I wanted to call you. You did find this as well. He will pull from underneath his um, clothing. There is a piece of parchment. It has about maybe 10 or so words. It's not very large. It's about like a pocket size, like a piece of parchment ripped out of like a notepad of some sort. He hands it to you. You just, in it outstretched, you instantly just see the word Reynard written in all caps on the top and a little bit of wording below it. But you obviously see Reynard without even holding or looking at this.
Little red flag going up.
What, do you say
That
that?
sounds very familiar.
Yes, Reynard is the name of the beat knight.
Right.
Since Don will still kind of impose this paper to hand it to you, since you are pretty well with the beat knight, I assume you would give this to him.
I will.
And I assume you take the paper.
Yes. And then I move on to the next individual. With a 13 and 5, so 5, 6, 7, 8. 18.
Alright. You see another stark white man, completely shaven and bald. He looks to be of a monk or a fighter like descent. He is clothed to match. He actually has quite a few lacerations about his torso in kind of, like crisscross pattern. But it looks quite messy. But you do not know this figure personally.
I've got no idea. And the last individual with a 7 and 5 is 12.
Alright. You just see a basic female. She's got quite a good gash through kind of her upper skull, like someone's cleaved into her with some sort of weapon. She's wearing just classic like leather armor, but nothing strikes you on her.
Nope, the only one I recognize is poor Thaddeus.
Don will do his best to hold himself together and tell you that he appreciates it, and that's mostly what they needed.
I nod and just... Is there any clues to what did this to them?
We asked all we could for the man who brought them in, but he was just traveling and they were just piled together on the side of the road. He says he didn't see any tracks or trails of anything, so we really don't have any clue. We're gonna try and see if we can get maybe a wizard friend or someone of more mystical persuasions to see if they can maybe delve deeper, but right now we're kind of in the dark.
All right.
Alright, did you just pocket that piece of paper, or did you, like, inspect it or anything?
I'd like to give it a quick once-over.
Like, do you want to read it, or do you just want to see, like, what it's made of, or...
I'll read it.
Alright, it looks handwritten in ink on just, like, a scrap piece of parchment, like it's been ripped out of something. Quite clearly says Reynard at the top in big, large print to assume to get someone's attention, or like an addressee of a letter. And it very neatly and almost semi-cursive underneath that, it says, quite legibly and quite calmly, "I died first. Suck it." And that's it.
That's it.
That's it. There's nothing on the back. It doesn't look scrawled. It looks very neatly written.
Hey. Wow. That's just wow.
Do you kind of look this over like in front of the others? Like you didn't try and hide reading it from them or anything, did you?
No, I didn't try hiding it. It just.
All right. Don kind of glances for a second and, sees that you're looking it over, and he kind of gives a little comment. "We didn't know if it had any deeper meaning." He kind of just half says.
I really don't think it does.
"I see," he says.
Anyway, with all this information, I exit the makeshift morgue.
All right. You leave the chapel, and you're knowledgeable that Urud lives upstairs. He owns, obviously, the local bar, and would be, he has taken over custody of Isasu, the demon child, and more or less she would be at the bar if they are still there. And I'm going to stop us there. You are going to have to continue that thought in between and or next time.
Okay.
So with that, this has been our little holiday special for Diet D&D. I hope anybody and everybody enjoyed it. It's a different change of pace.
And by the time this goes up, it may not be the holiday season, but I hope everyone enjoyed theirs.
Certainly as well. As always, I've been your Dungeon Master, and with me has been Player Daniel.
It's a pleasure, as always.
Until next time.